Yes, everyone, welcome back. Another show. How's it going? Are you all good? I've just realised, not set the camera up so I look proper orange, don't I? 1 second. It's because it's been unplugged. Way up, too far. And I got to change the white balance. There we go. Look at least half human now, don't I? Have you had a good Monday? Have you been productive today on your Monday? What have you been up to? Let me know in the comments. I will get to the questions in the comments in a second. There we go. Got the comments up so I can actually chat to you lot now. Ross says, evening. Tom says, glad we didn't sign Felix, especially that 70 million obligation to buy is true. Going to get to all the Phoenix Knights, the Felix stuff in just a second. But I want to talk a little bit about why I think Chelsea is probably a better destination for him than United ever was. So this season, Chelsea have played, it feels like about 11 different formations. Yes, there are that many. It's the 3-4-2-1 that you'll see them line up in the most. And the 3-4-2-1 has got the opportunity for a couple of number 10s to play in it. Chelsea currently deploy Mount and Havertz there predominantly. They've also got other players that they can play in those sorts of positions. But they also have a 3-5-2 formation, which they have used. They used it with Sterling and Havertz playing up front in that one. They've also played 4-4-2, which would very much suit Felix having just come straight from Atletico Madrid. That again was Sterling and Havertz that was up front. They've also tried a 3-1-4-2, which is or was Pulisic and Sterling up front, as well as every combination of 4-3-3 and all the rest of that sort of stuff. And even when they played 4-3-3, they played it a couple of times this season. They've actually played Kai Havertz down the middle. So it at least makes sense for the way Chelsea play for them to take someone like a João Felix. United clearly wanted a unit. Hence, we've gone for a 6'6" guy rather than this child. Tells you everything you need to know about what United was looking for. I think the rumours were there because he was well available and people were just letting it known that they're well available, and everyone knows United are in for a striker. But that's that one, isn't it? So the news that's broken, at least, let's get into the official business of the news. Chelsea and Atletico Madrid complete the final details of João Felix as the Blues want to be fast and get it sealed this week. Full agreement on personal terms, and Felix accepted a Chelsea move, and they will cover his full salary until June the 30th. So there you go. That's what's happening with that one. Malp says Felix is a Portuguese Theo Walcott. Interesting. Notch says it's all about the players Ten Hag likes and wants. Weghorst makes a lot of sense in a lot of ways. He does for that, yeah. Norbury, let's see this. Anything that starts with putting this as professionally as possible, with the absolute shower of shit that Liverpool are, does this pave the way for Jude joining in the summer? For us, or for Liverpool, I don't know. I genuinely think for both clubs to have any kind of interest whatsoever in bringing Jude Bellingham in, they both need to have fully completed the sale of both clubs, because he's going to cost 100 million sort of dosh. Madness. Raf says Steve Weghorst is going to buy his contract out if Besiktas don't let him go. Potential cult hero already. Animal says we're getting Enzo, not Jude. Well, there was a lot of talk of him going to Chelsea, and that just paused in the last week, didn't it? On the last weekend, I guess. IR says Weghorst has scored more World Cup goals than Haaland. Clearly, we have the better striker. Ben says, I'm buzzing about Weghorst. His strength, link-up play, finishing. I think Eric's done again with an epic signing. Little Dan McNamara says, Felix is the right player, wrong time. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and slag João Felix off. I think he's a brilliant footballer. I just don't think he's right for Manchester United. I don't even necessarily think he's 100% correct for Chelsea. but he's more of an obvious fit for Chelsea. I mean, I actually don't know how I would even begin to fix Chelsea, because on paper, like, you look at the squad Chelsea have got and you go, okay, Kante played only a couple of games this season, but they still have him. You've got Kepa on the books, you've got Mendy on the books. Is this part of the issue, is that they've got a lot of players of similar levels but no clear starting obvious 11? Thiago Silva, obviously at the back end of his career now. Reece James, up until his injury, brilliant footballer. Koulibaly, they spent a lot of money on. Kai Havertz, ditto. Raheem Sterling, that transfer never really made a lot of sense to me. I know he's done all right for them this year, but you know what I mean? Azpilicueta, probably on the back slope of his career now. I think he's 30. I want to say 34, 35. He might not actually be that old. You got the Fofana. Again, another one that they paid a lot of money for. Jorginho, Chilwell. There's some talent in the squad, and this isn't before you even get to the likes of, Ziyech, who they couldn't make it work with, Pulisic, Kovacic, and then they've got some amazing youngsters coming through the mix. I don't quite know how to put my finger on what it is that's going tits up for Chelsea at the moment. You know what I mean? Peter says, Steve, serious question. Has Joel ever seen Casemiro play? He's getting some shit on the video today. I can't believe we're even having these conversations. You know what I'm saying? Alex says, not too fussed with Felix going Chelsea. I'm okay with Vegas coming short term for United, as that's the mould of the centre forward that we need. Maka says, Potter will be gone Thursday when Fulham beat them. Can you imagine? Way those players just jogged back yesterday after losing the ball was shocking. Notch says they were able to win the Champions League with a similar level of squad. That's why when I look at it, you go, okay, yeah, that was 18 months ago, but still, what the fuck? It makes so little sense. Did we get down to 10th last season? Yeah, I think we did. There was a couple of points where it was fucking grim. Brennan says Chelsea treating the transfer market like a trading card game, collecting up all the players to complete the collection. Yeah, none of them are any fucking good. See, this is another one. Does the transfer of Felix make sense, or is it a case of just fucking gets anything? That's the problem with it, I think. Innit? I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think Felix, yes, Felix, no? Success for Chelsea. Felix, will he be a success at Chelsea? Yes or no? Seth says they're getting Nkunku, aren't they? Is Nkunku at the end of the season, though? Or is it in January? If he's in January, that's fucking bananas. So we got no, yes, no. Wow. Oh, man, we're talking like 25-1 here in terms of like no's and yeses. Jesus. Harry says people were trying to hype up Potter because he's English, but he's mid-table. Listen, I still think Potter can be the right guy, but I think this shows how much he'd built a system based on proper serious characteristics of the players that he got in at Brighton. And whether or not he got them cheap, because he did, he built a squad with the right characteristics, the right mentality. And that clearly doesn't exist at Chelsea. And and he's going to spend a lot of money to change that if he's given the opportunity. If you've watched Vibe with Five from today, I'm totally almost agnostic about what's going to happen with Potter, whether he'll get sacked or not. I think he will ultimately get sacked, because that is the fate of 99% of managers walking the planet. So I would imagine if he carries on the same trajectory he's going at the moment, yeah, he'll be out of a job by the end of the season. I will be very surprised if he doesn't finish in the top half if they keep him. And it'll demonstrate a serious long-term vision that I don't think any American owners coming into English football have demonstrated so far. So I would be surprised at that. Ross says, if you bought all of Brighton's recruitment, they would certainly give him time. Yes. Jake says, would like to see Iqbal get some minutes tomorrow. Me too. Brennan says, jokes aside, you would think Chelsea are beginning to walk a fine line with FFP. What FFP? What FFP? There is no FFP. City fucking challenged it and won. So it's bullshit. It doesn't even exist. And if not, they'll just fucking sponsor themselves the way City did. Lauren says, feels like Todd Boehly is playing footy manager. Yeah, and badly. Dawood says, I feel like Chelsea's full of players that are star players in a team, but together they have no one leading the team and commanding respect. Yeah, you see this a lot when people have got very, very good players, but they haven't got a very good team. Ralph says, not only that, Steve, but Potter's main issue is that he has European Cup winners in that squad who aren't going to respect a guy who managed Brighton. But that's bullshit, though, isn't it? At the end of the day, he's earned the right to be respected by doing a fucking good job with a team that had no right to be punching the way it was. Wilhelm says, started my new job today and got a good workout in. Fucking well done, mate. Post your wins. I haven't been to the gym yet this year. I do feel better today. Because of going live on this tonight, I've not gone to the gym today, or therefore this year. But I am going tomorrow. First one of the year. I've been fucking ill since I got back from Qatar, and I've not even been well enough to contemplate it. So I think this extra day, I mean, you can probably still hear there's a bit of a rattle in my throat. This extra day before going tomorrow, I'll be in the mixer. It's not excuses. I'm absolutely been on my arse. You can see my whoop recoveries. It's been fucking dead. Grayson says, FFP only exists for a poor club from countries that UEFA doesn't like. Oxford are still drawing with Arsenal. Kerry says, do I think Besiktas are going to fold over Weghorst? Yeah, I think they will. Is it going to hurt Steve tomorrow? Don't know what I'm doing, actually. Am I not going to the game tomorrow? I'm not going to the game tomorrow, no, because training's on. So I'm taking training instead. Jay and my dad are going. Raf says, how's that bullshit? Potter is a builder. He has big personalities who don't want to play for him, rightly or wrongly. No, I'm saying I'm not saying the concept is bullshit. I'm saying that what the players are doing is bullshit. I don't agree with that. Does United really need Weghorst? Yes. When does the content come on that IRL channel? Probably this week, be the first video drop. I was meant to be in our studio today and it got flipped. We are in our studio. I wasn't in our studio today and I was hoping to speak to someone today. Where's Potter's personality, though? Don't know. Ten Hag worked magic with Haller, so maybe Weghorst will work. Yeah, I think people are looking at that and maybe drawing parallels that may or may not exist there, but we can but hope. Harry says Felix will flop at Chelsea. Did the mighty Man United need Cantona? Different? Is it different? I'd say it is a little bit different. It's actually a little bit similar, but it's different in a way. At the time, United had Mark Hughes, Eric Cantona, Dion Dublin had just broken his leg, and United was drawing a lot of games that we should have won. And it was a little bit different in terms of that. Mark Hughes wasn't very prolific. Brian McClare had kind of stopped being prolific at that point. And we needed a little bit of creative magic. And when we brought Cantona in, he didn't just play as a number 9, the pair of number 9s that everybody was. Cantona stepped off, made United start playing 4-1, 4-4-1-1, and almost created a new role that English football hadn't really seen, probably since the likes of Hoddle. And even Hoddle couldn't be correctly utilised. And Fergie managed to build a system that suited Cantona, suited the way United played, and was ultimately extremely successful. At the moment, United need a focal point in the team. The goals that if he scores 1 and 2, that'd be very nice. But I also think that you need someone that's going to press from the front in a way that Tevez did. I think Tevez was quite contagious in the way that he pressed. If we can do that, I think we'd be in good mix. Henry with a super chat there says, unrelated, but is there any way I can do a video on the most improved players under Ten Hag? That's a good idea. Yes, we will look into that one. Chris says, just want to say Matt Dickinson's 1999 was the best unofficial publicity you ever did. The book's insane, only halfway through it as well. Absolute shout. I've been listening to it again this week. It's fucking brilliant. There's 99 chapters in there, right? There's probably 30 chapters of stuff that you didn't know. It's fucking sensational. It's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, obviously Matt didn't pay us for it. I just I have like 200 titles on my Audible because I'm a fucking maniac that can't go to sleep without noise on, and I can't get in a car or go to the gym or do my hikes without noise in my ears. And I go through bouts of just being obsessed with music, and then bouts of like I need to listen to stuff. So I flip and flop between the two. I use Audible religiously. And I was just scrolling through, and it was like it just popped up with a you may like, and I was like, oh, I would like that. So I bought it, and I finished it in a fucking day. It was so good. And I'm kind of doing the same thing. I do get a little bit obsessed with stuff when I get into it, and I have absolutely binging the shit out of Yellowstone at the moment. It's fucking top telly, and it's got me thinking, could I move to Montana and have a ranch? Oh, do you know anything about horses, Steve? Fuck all. Do you know anything about cattle? Well, it tastes good. Look fucking good in a cowboy hat, though. That's for sure. Proper Geezer says, me too, love Audible. King Cantonar says, any military leaders or philosophers who influenced my managerial style? Jocko Willink, who I guess is a military leader, and he preaches from the book of Discipline Equals Freedom. In fact, it might be one here. There is not one here. I thought there was one here. I know, I've got too many spots for books. There is a Jocko Willink book here, though. Not the one I was thinking of, though. But yeah, I mean, Jocko Willink, not just the discipline equals freedom stuff, but the ownership, taking ownership of stuff. He takes it to the extreme, hence the extreme ownership side of things. But I think everyone could learn a little bit from that. Proper Geese says, what was the book Steve was talking about? 1999 by Mac Dickinson. It's fucking sensational. Miko says, make sure you watch 1883 and 1923. I watched all of 1883. I'm going to do about 3 seasons of Yellowstone now and then jump back into it. Bob says the main problem with Chelsea is they once had a team of mentality monsters. Now they're a squad of spineless fannies. Kyle says Souness already primed and ready to talk shit about Vegas and how United should have kept Lukaku. Nailed on. That train is in the station, just being polished, ready to come out now, I think. Yellowstone is superb, says Tim. Arsenal just scored. Patrick, can I explain the pre-match warm-ups? How the pre-match warm-ups have changed since Ten Hag came in? Not in detail. I have watched them. I didn't necessarily pay attention while they were there the other day. There seems to be so many more people on the pitch now, though. I remember mentioning that to my old man the other day when we was sitting there watching the warm-up. I wasn't taking it on board what they were all doing in the warm-up. But they do some stuff opposed. I don't like doing totally unopposed warm-ups. I don't really see the point when you're preparing to go into matches. I think you should prepare by being fucking tackled, by having to beat a real person. I don't necessarily like warm-ups that involve mannequins or just cones. For example, our own warm-up, obviously not perfect. I've stole most of my warm-up from your Premier League level. It's a Champions League and Premier League sort of level team. Not going to tell you exactly who. I've said it before. If you want to go back, and you can find it yourself. But I've stolen different bits from different people. The activations are, very straightforward. Muscle activation that I have my lads do. From the activation, we do a possession box where the objective is to get it from one centre half to the other. It's a fairly narrow, tight box. The idea of the tight box is to increase the frequency and intensity of presses, touches, passing combinations, up, back and throughs, that sort of stuff, and to really get the heart rate elevated and get the players communicating. I want detail on the passes. I want communication when it comes to coordinating the press. And then from there, we do about 5 or 6 minutes where we will run. How many do we do? It is 8 versus 5 or 6. Depending on how many subs I've got kicking around while the others are warming the goalkeeper up. We'll do 8 versus 5 or 6 where we will start to try and run actual plays. Now, United won't do that, but they do a shooting drill, which is a little bit more isolated than that. But they've started to have someone sort of just trying to grab arms and stuff, just making it a bit more realistic. Do you all think Eriksen will replace Bruno when we get a centre mid? Ooh, no, but it might just go into that rotation, I think. Saragon says Pacific Northwest is good if you like hiking, need to carry bear spray and watch for those mountain lions. That's the one thing that I like about hiking in Britain. The mentalist thing I'm going to come up against is a fucking Jack Russell off a lead. And I'm alright. I reckon I can fuck or Jack Russell up, man. I don't think I want to fucking ever come across a bear. And I wouldn't trust bear mace. What's the mace going to do to the bear or to me if it fucks a bear up? Why does no one ever talk about that, eh? Hey? And mountain lions. Now, I'm comfortable walking around armed, but I don't want to have to fucking murder a fucking animal for the simple fact that I'm kicking about in his backyard. Do you know what I mean? Doesn't feel right. Ram says, watch Jocko's podcast with Andrew Human, was top class. It's 4 hours and it flies by. I agree. I totally agree. Trying to catch up on the chat because I missed loads while I was waffling shit. They don't show Yellowstone when it's snowing. Oh, you mean they haven't shown the area of Yellowstone when it's snowing? Right. Azkabaz says, if we beat Arsenal, I'm looking forward to seeing you and Rio rinse Joel. Do not worry. And did I tell the Schmeichel story yet? I did in Dublin. You have to time travel and go and get it. Atom says, I love Yellowstone, just finished 5th season. Are you up to date then? Is it 5 seasons? Dran says, if Weghorst does well and stays fit, he might be a better backup star to the star striker we get in the summer than Marshall. Hope there is a cheap buy clause. Good call. Totally agree. Patrick says, did you see Matt Law reported that Boehly has stepped down as Chelsea's sporting director? Well, that seems like an entirely common sense thing to do, doesn't it? So I'm surprised at that one. Askabaz says, Extreme Ownership is a great book, applicable to anything. Yeah, there's a great book behind me, actually. In fact, the Jocko book's there. I knew it was in here somewhere. Bosh. That one. That is one of the best sporting books that there has ever fucking been. This is required reading on our team. It's fucking brilliant. And that's the Jocko one. It's a good one. And it's a cool fucking book as well. And it's written in that sort of style. Good book. Anyway. Is Yellowstone worth the watch? Is it worth the watch? I'm looking at fucking ranches in Montana, figuring out how I can do this bullshit from over there. And I'm only half joking. Jake says, did I hear Gabriel Bonlaho? No. Gabriel Bonlaho ranting about Garnacho's attitude. Someone needs to tell him he needs to get some fucking mirrors in his house. Tom says, Bale retired today. What a fucking career. I have got Ash Williams on tomorrow with myself and Ornstein on 5. We'll be talking about Bale's career and all the rest of that sort of stuff. So check that one out. Stuart says, honestly, one signing that I think one that is possible in the summer. I can't think about the summer just yet. You got to get new owners. If you don't get new owners, fuck knows. Which players changed my perspective either positively or negatively after meeting them? A lot of players changed their my opinion on them positively. A lot of them. Some will never get changed. And there's a few that I've changed it for the bad, for the worse. The favourite video I've ever made, PSG review in 2019, sticks in the memory. Yeah. There was also another one that I did around that time where we played the intro, I said shite, and then we played the outro. I enjoyed that one as well. PVT says, you watched Diogo interview today, very refreshing. Yeah, obviously Paddock interviewed Diogo today. That's cool. I know he follows the channel as well. I think it was a bit of a round robin with a handful of people, but it's cool that the club's opening up to doing some shit like that. Brian says, Roy Keane was interviewed on Irish telly last week by comedian Tommy Tiernan. Hard to watch, hardly asked any questions about football, and Keane wasn't very forthcoming with personal stuff. Shit, innit? Jimmy says, what do United need to do this season for the season to be considered a success? I think top 4 and a trophy, and the Glazers gone, and it's probably one of the best fucking seasons we've had in 30 years. Yinka says, Chelsea remind me of the Glazers in their prime. No strategy. Felix will be Falcao 2.0, and get behind that. Everyone agree with that? Glazers 2.0 at Chelsea at the moment. Alex says, wait till a badger is staring at you. Yeah, badgers fuck people up, but, you don't really see a lot of them. And it seems like there's a lot more fucking mountain lion and bear encounters in America than there is badger encounters in Britain. Brennan says, Pacific Northwest is elite. Where's that gone? Super chat there. What's my best American or rancher accent? I'm not doing one at the minute, not when my throat hurts. But you've just also asked top 5 recommended United books. Only been watching 7-8 years. Want to learn as much as I can. I would say The Greatest by James Layton, talking about Duncan Edwards. The Day a Team Died, and forgive me, I forget the name of the author. So that's 1 and 2. I think 1999 is brilliant. I would recommend that. Fergie's autobiography, Paul McGrath's autobiography. I'll tell you a lot of how it was going down early doors with Fergie. And I might have to get back to you on the final ones with that. R. Mackenzie says, great content. Question of the day, do I think United would be doing as well as we are if we'd have got De Jong instead of Casemiro? I can't imagine we would, to be honest. Notch says, Bale would have cost us a fortune on wages. Not that that's an alien concept to us. I find the wage cap concept really interesting. We did touch on it a little bit earlier on Vibe with 5. And I wonder, I haven't looked into it enough to really know the ins and outs of it, but I've just got a sneaky suspicion that it's probably something along the lines of, we're going to cap the basics but not cap image rights, and an increasing part of players' wages is under image rights, and we did sort of touch on that the other day, but maybe I'll do a whole video looking at that and explaining the image rights a little bit. Jordan says, Todd Boehly, football genius. Honey Badger says, don't spray into the wind, Steve. But what if the bear's coming at you with the wind? Have you got footwork for a bear? You ain't Floyd Mayweather. Fucking hell. You ain't Floyd Mayweather in that bear, kid. That bear's going to eat your fucking arsehole first. That's how it's going down. Like, I don't know how we've anthropomorphized and cartoonized bears to the point where my fucking daughter sleeps with a bear. Bumbly Bear is her go-to teddy, a soft toy that she goes to sleep with. If you come across a real bear is eating you, and it ain't even wait until you die, it's just going to start eating you because that's how little of a fuck it gives about you. Mank says, I'm starting to get giddy about Ten Hag, starting to think 21 is coming, Champions League the lot. I'm unapologetic about it. I think you get a couple more players and a little bit of luck, you could do some madness. Raf says, the one thing I never understood was the fallout between Rooney and Fergie. What exactly happened? I think you're probably just two strong characters. I think at the time, I would imagine Fergie probably thought Rooney was coming to the end of his career. And I mean, the end of his career came quite suddenly, really, didn't it? I mean, he did last a few more years than we would all probably have thought. And obviously, he lasted a fair few more years beyond Fergie. Maybe Fergie thought he was too strong a character in the dressing room to be there beyond Fergie in a negative sense. Because you can have positive, strong characters and negative, strong characters. And I think maybe Fergie thought he might have been a negative, strong character, particularly as maybe he saw the writing on the wall. Because Roy Keane and Wayne Rooney, their peaks was probably quite similar. And their endings came fairly similar as well, where they lost speed and their influence on the game was lost, but they're still such a huge character that it's probably very hard for players that have been so good to not play week in, week out. Think about Wayne Rooney's character. That guy would have played through anything for Manchester United. Can you imagine telling him you're resting him and rotating him? Same with Roy Keane. Doesn't really fly. And maybe Fergie saw what happened with Roy Keane repeating itself with Wayne Rooney, and I think he tried to move him on. And I think they fell out over it. And I could be wrong. That's just my sort of take on what I think happened. King Cantona says Chelsea defo giving peak Woodward vibes. Yeah, that's what I feel at the minute. Andy Williams says, I can see this QSI group investing money into Liverpool. It's going to be very interesting, isn't it? Because it seems like there's a lot of investment about to drop for a lot of fucking people. Proper Geezer said, Rooney started young. He did. And sometimes that happens, doesn't it? What about Wolves, Steve? I think they're going down. Hey. Yeah, fuck Wolves as well. I don't know if this is misplaced. I am not as scared of Wolves as I am Bears and Mountain Lions. It seems to me Wolves don't just randomly attack uninjured people. I think if you're injured or lame in any way, you're in the shit. Whereas Bears don't give a fuck. Like Mountain Lions don't give a fuck. They're just going to jack you. Whereas I think Wolves pick and choose who they go for a little bit more. Could be wrong on that again. But also, like, I don't know. I've grown up with dogs my entire life, and some fucking big Alsatian dogs as well. And in my head, I'm thinking, all right, yeah, I'm going to get fucked up here, but nowhere near as bad as if it was a bear. I mean, a bear is just like a dog 10 times the weight, isn't it? Jason says, hope you're well, brother. What ex-United striker would suit the United style of play now if I could pick one? Rude. How am I with seals? There's a naturalised seal sanctuary near me. No way, is there? I didn't think you had seals around the UK. You live and learn. A higher primate, Coca-Cola, polar bear propaganda. Yeah, polar bears are probably the scariest thing walking Earth. Have I seen that as a Duncan Edwards biography coming out? No. That's interesting. Bale's going to join the Live Golf Tour. I was joking about that earlier, but that might be true. Mountain lions are delicious, apparently. They don't look tasty, do they? Momo says, are we getting a new owner or investment? Statement of the Glazers on the fan forum is worrying. I think they have to be pretty broad with it, just on the off chance, but yeah. Dahan says, watching you for the past 7 years from Pakistan, would love to see you someday and even play in your pub team. Hee hee. Come and trial. It's a long commute for training, but everyone's welcome. We had a lad who was on the verges of being a Pakistan international actually playing for us. I'm not quite sure what happened with that, but he was talking to us about it, and we were sending tape for him for it as well. Seth says, if a cow charges you, are you standing still like you're supposed to, or am I going to get the fuck out of there? See, that's the thing, innit, right? Because bulls are pretty fucking scary too. And do cows charge, or is it just bulls? I think you need fucking balls of steel to just sit there and stare it out I'm probably going to fucking drop a shoulder and try and get out of there, but I'm not the most agile, so I'm probably going to get fucked up by a cow. Is there an update on Sancho training with a squad again? Not that I've seen, so I don't know. Cameron says, I work on emergency response team in the Rockies. Mountain lions are really reclusive. I can count on one hand the number I have seen without specifically seeking them out. Yeah, but what you don't want is to be taking a shit in the woods somewhere and then have one sneak up on you and start giving it the kind of caper, do you? Because now you're like, oh no. D-Miz says, been charged by bulls and cows and ran from both. Jacob says, cows run towards humans as they think we have something to offer. Really? Heard anything about the Dubai takeover? We're talking about cows, mate. It's important. Rinsed mobile valeting. I had a face-off with a cow. My missus got on her toes. Miles, I saw a moose in the wild. Fucking giants. Right. This is why camera phones and shit like that are amazing. Did you have any idea that a moose wasn't like the size of a horse, but it's like the size of a fucking bus? Did anybody know that? Did anyone actually deep how big a fucking moose is? Because if you're sitting there going, it's like a big cow, right? Like a camel size? No, they are ginormous. I think you might be able to walk underneath one without touching it. They're fucking bonkers, right? DB Cooper says, I definitely get approached by cows when I'm out cycling. I've paused. Have I? I've ever had oxtails? No. Have I seen the clip of a moose running through like 5 feet of snow? Jesus. Is Vibe with 5 coming to Euro 2024? We're in the planning for that now. Have I seen a video where a hiker gets attacked by a baby bear and has to stomp the fucker? Fucking hell, that's a bit strong, isn't it? Do you know what? I already know when we do these. I'm going to do this on the IRL channel and we can just sit here talking about this all day without any football questions because I fucking live for this shit. DB Cooper, I think the plural of moose should be meese. Right on. I am absolutely with you with that. Seth says sheep will go for you as well if you have their young near them. I see a lot of sheep and I don't really see any of them ever trying to kick off, ever. I live out in Red Banks, Missouri, with a couple of gals. All right, show off. This huge fucking bull was behind us in the car. We had to call the owner, and they were at work. And they told us to get a box of cereal and shake it. What? Bears are a fuck no. I'd die on the spot. That could be the best thing that could ever happen to you. Because I think if you're going to get fucking eaten, you don't want to be alive when it happens. As Kabaz says, if Paddock ever got a mascot or animal tied to its identity, what would it be? I can't think of anything. Like, we've tried to come up with something like this, maybe for junior members or something like that, and ultimately, a paddock is what? It's named after a section of the stand. If you extrapolate that, a paddock could be, it's often where horses are kept, but I think also any livestock can be kept in a paddock. I could be wrong on that. The other thing is that where we're looking to be of our home is going to be alongside the ship canal. Is there anything in the ship canal and the word dock, maybe? Fucking struggling, to be honest. Struggling. It won't be fucking Moonchester, like cities though, is it? Moonchester. I mean, at least Fred the Red's a fucking devil. Alright? He's a tubby devil. But he's a devil. Do you know what? When Super League kicked in Rugby League, Salford had, I reckon, a fucking gift voucher for a joke shop or a mascot shop or some shit like that, right? Salford, in all seriousness, had a dinosaur, a fucking chicken, and a shark as our mascots. I wonder if that's fucking Googleable. Is that even a word? Googleable? Googleable. It's got to be a Googleable. Let's have a look. Salford Reds mascots 1. Nah, it only shows the fucking weird doctor thing that we've got now. No, there's not really any photos coming up for Salford Reds mascot. That's a shame because they were shit. They were so shit. It was like someone had got them like free for a £5. Shabir says, get a goat. A goat's a good one. D-Biz says the padlock. A pigeon. A pit bull. A paddock haddock. Well, that was a thing that we had going on Joe's Late Night Live, wasn't it? How good was that? A goat's an interesting one. Will I get Brendan on the IRL channel? We're having talks with people for me and Brendan to be doing the podcast again. So let's just leave it at that for now. Alex Bailey says, so we'll be a trout mascot. Do you think there's any fish in the ship canal? I mean, someone probably knows the answer to this. Is there any fish in the ship canal? Paddock Stallions. Sounds like a male strip act. Raf says, was about to go to the gym, but suddenly this cow and bear conversation has me gripped. Just fucking bang your headphones in and crack on. Would Joe Smith not mind being the mascot? Why not get a nice combi boiler like West Brom? Yeah, there's some absolutely fucking shocking mascots, isn't there? Wigan have a pie. Don't Oldham have a shit one as well, or am I imagining that? Arsenal are so bad. What's happening at Arsenal? Dub says, confuses me why players would rather go to teams lower than us in the league. Also makes me think the sale is closer than we think could be. Which rugby league club has the worst name? What, as in like Warriors or Saints or... There's got to be some fucking shit ones, aren't there? Can't think off the top of my head. Gateshead Lightning. Rhinos, yeah. A rhino's native to Leeds, lad. What others are named after? Keighley Cougars. Yeah, I used to play for... Two teams I used to play for. Keighley Cougars and Doncaster Dragons. Is there any dragons in Doncaster, Steve? No, but there's a prison and teenage pregnancies all over the gaff. Lee Centurions have rebranded to Lee Leopards. No, they've not. Why have they done that? Ew. How about a slice of pizza? Alex Toole says, I fish in the canals in Tampa all the time. If the ship canal has fish, could it send it to Ronaldo to visit it? We are so taking that fucker to an aquarium soon. Hull Kingston Rovers. Yeah, Hull Kingston Rovers and Hull FC, they're fine names. Paddock Fruit Loops. Arrow says, gonna watch Yellowstone, I think. Love the place when I visited. Bisons fuck a lot of people up on the national park every year because they get too close to them taking pictures. Why would you do that? I've seen, are they called, this could be so fucking wrong and I'm just ignorant here, but are they called Morag cows? The red, like, I'm going to call them Scottish cows. I have no idea what the fucking nationality of these cows is, but it's like the red ginger cows with horns. They're gnarly looking cows. Where I go and do my walks, there's a couple of those that I've run into. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. There's those, and weirdly, pheasants. All over the gaff. Highland cows. Right, okay, so they are Scottish then. Bez as a mascot for Paddock. What about a wild boar or hog? Well, what's the sort of correlation? Like, why are Leeds called Leeds fucking Rhinos? There ain't no rhinos in Leeds. Yeah, just like fucking get a grip, man. Durhan says, Paddock Clowns makes the defeats easier. All I can see in my head is someone going, her, her. Ian says, do I think Ten Hag has had conversations with Fergie? Seems to be morphing into him. Stretford Paddock Red Sox. We wear black socks though. I think he has spoken to Fergie. I get the vibe that he has, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he hasn't as well. Azkaban says, I'm telling you, Jay Shiny Head is the perfect mascot. Imagine having Pennywise as a mascot. I bet somebody has, you know. I bet someone has. Will Sancho return for tomorrow? I mean, I had that sort of hypothesized in my video today, so maybe. Ralph says, as a lifelong Packers fan, our thoughts on their elimination for the playoff contention yesterday. Well, as you know, I have been a lifelong Packers fan for, I think, a year now. Man and boy. And I didn't even know they were playing. Sorry. Arrow says, lived on an island in the Swedish archipelago for a year. Moose lived there and swam between the islands. Can testify that they're fucking huge. Had a calf, still huge, stand on the road and stare. They're fucking massive. They're absolutely massive. Gein said, how on earth did Chelsea keep attracting players? Weirdest news to wake up to. I'm miffed. I actually think, potatoes. I actually think living in London is a huge factor, I think, for people. London is a hub city. It's very easy to travel to fucking anywhere in the world from London. And I think that has a big factor for... London's a good city, right? If you've got money, which generally Premier League footballers are all right for that. I think if you've got money, London would be a great city to live in. So I can understand why it attracts players. Have I got one of those gold beer cans? What gold beer cans? Notch says venomous adders exist in Britain. I'd guess in the Highlands. I think adders are actually in like the south of England. Let me just Google that. It's the only venomous snake in England. Wow, there's 100 adder bites a year in Britain. And the most adders are actually in southern England. Not common in the Midlands, fairly numerous in West Wales and southwest England, widespread in Scotland, but absent in the Outer Hebrides, Central Lowlands, and the Northern Islands. There you go. Helly says, should Weghorst's loan be successful and United be interested in a permanent transfer? How realistic is it bound to happen? I think it'd be very likely to happen if he comes and he's been successful here. Daniel Farr says, most adders are in Westminster. They don't have venom. They're just fucking snakes, mate. Oh, I can't buy 19.99 on USA Audible. That fucking blows, doesn't it? Get a VPN and sign up for a different one. Bit of a fuck around, I guess, but you know. Stretford Paddock emus. The Paddock puffins. Aren't they like a weird bird? I've ever seen a slow worm. All worms are fucking slow. Ever seen a quick one? The Paddock pomegranates. See how hard it is trying to come up with a fucking good name? Like, I imagine every single name anyone's ever come up with. Like, you see all the honey badger ones and wildcat ones. I mean, like, American high schools have literally come up with every single fucking, like, mascotty name that you can come up with, haven't they? Would I fancy my chances with a mad ferret whose worst thing that it's ever bitten is me, and that includes a German Shepherd? Jesus. Anything that's a bit scratchy is a problem, I think. Get sponsored and call it Paddock Pumas. Well, we're halfway there with that, to be fair. Roundmeat says, what did I miss? What the fuck are we talking about? Exactly what it says on the tin, right? Didn't we say this on the tin? No? All right, well, just fucking roll with it. This is what we're doing now. Gary says, I live in Oregon and no worries about bears. 90% of the areas one can hike in. Yeah, but what's the 10% that you can't? Because that's a fucking problem, is it not? Manchester Maverick says, do I think United need to give up on a cup competition, Europa League, as we'll run out of a game for midweek rescheduling if we get to the EFL Cup final? Probably not, to be honest. It's also hard to gamble and go, let's fuck this one off and we'll be fine in that one, because fucking sport doesn't work like that, does it? Matthew Fries says, carry a gun in the USA and not bear mace. There's some stuff that I want to do this year. And now I'm getting better. I actually feel like fairly capable of actually planning some of this shit to do. I have to have an injection in my foot to sort out my plantar fasciitis. Once we've done that, I'm going to start booking in some Tough Mudders and stuff. One of the things I want to do, although I have no fucking idea how I'm going to squeeze this in, I think United are going to pre-season in America, which means that's my fucking summer plans dealt with. I think Paddock are going to end up going away somewhere, even if it's just somewhere in Britain for our pre-season. I got to go away with my parents and my family. I would like to take the kids and Janine away. This is fucking... I would like to try and... I don't think compete in the tactical games just yet, but go and train for the tactical games, because I think that would make fucking wicked content. And if you've not seen it, the tactical games is... Heard of the CrossFit games? Well, it's the CrossFit games with guns, which is the most American shit that I could ever think of. But I wouldn't mind having a go. Know what I mean? I want to do that. Mustafa says, it's 3:30 in the fucking morning here and I'm listening to this madness. You are welcome. Just watch the beef with Joe on Rio's new one. That's not beef, that's just how we communicate. If we're going off topic, do I like Andy Tate, the top G, and not our darling Tate? Two things on Andy Tate. One, I'm extremely disappointed in Stretford Paddock as a channel that hasn't tried to parody Andy Tate with Andy Tate yet, because that's a fucking tap-in. I don't know what, but I believe in Joe, and Joe should have absolutely done that already, and he's not, so I'm annoyed. Two, guy seems like a bit of a fucking whopper, if I'm being honest. There's plenty of whoppers out there. Someone told me he was on Big Brother. When was he on Big Brother? How fucking down the toilet did Big Brother go at one point? So I understand he's clearly a good martial artist. You become a world champion martial artist, you're pretty fucking hard, right? But kickboxing doesn't make Lamborghini and fucking Bugatti money. So did he actually become rich by trafficking fucking women? Little bit sleazy. And I think there's a lot of fucking impressionable kids that the way he fucking talks about women and stuff is not fucking healthy. Hopefully people have got a brain and can... No, he was everywhere, all over Instagram, all over TikTok. It felt from nowhere, it seemed like he was everywhere on a podcast I've never even fucking heard of that I keep seeing clips of. And then he was banned, which seemed to just fucking 10x his views everywhere. And then, I don't know, and now he's even fucking cancelled? Well, I don't fucking know anymore. Whatever. There's enough witches in the world. He's just another one of them. Mahia says, this is the 100th time our pants have been pulled down in the transfer window. Are you a Chelsea fan? Because if so, you're right. Otherwise, how have our pants been pulled down? Dub says, oh my God, Steve, that's not like you judging before guilty. How have I judged him? So the guy's a bit of a fucking witch. I'm judging him on what he said, what I've seen him say. I saw some videos of him fucking levering some chick as well, and... Okay. Innocent until proven guilty, I guess, but... Comes across a bit of a fucking chopper, so... Red Dev says, What do I think of the fee for Felix? I haven't seen the fee. What is the fee? Mahia says, we have paid trillions or more than we need to on numerous occasions. Factually, no, we haven't. Raf says, I feel like English people have the best insults in the world. Listen, proliferate the use of the word widge and melon because they're inclusive and they're inoffensive, relatively. Jarvis Cocker says, Felix deal was never going to happen. It was a smokescreen. I think it was probably agent-led from the other side rather than from our side. Alex says there's been video testimonies to tape from young lads who thank him for opening their eyes. Listen, I randomly fucking come across people trying to convince me that the fucking earth is flat, and they sound so convinced. Just because someone's convinced something happened doesn't mean it fucking did. Like, I can't even fucking... Oh, it hurts my brain that people think the earth is flat. It's observably not flat. And that there's people with... Fucking alarm going off. There's people with serious fucking followings trying to convince everyone. Mental. Fucking hell. Look, in all of the fucking mad smoke screens, like the mud floods ones that I'm getting into in a minute, we're going to get into these on IRL channel for sure. Like, and Antarctica is what, a wall, is it? Why is there sunsets in Antarctica then? Oh, how does that one work? Proper Geezer says, it's okay, Steve, we need dumb people in the world. The issue is we have too many. Yeah, they all get to vote. To be fair, the earth is quite flat in 2D, says DB Cooper. The thing is, you can't even fucking win. Because if you go up to space and film it, they just say it's the lens. Or it was a GoPro. Fuck me. Ollie Bird says, the earth is observably flat. Ask any plumber, water will always find a level. Do you know one of the things that actually opened my eyes the most to how gravity works? Because I've always struggled with the concept of why does water stick to this object? But the earth is so, like, you cannot compare the size of the earth to the fucking glasses case, right? It doesn't work like that. But one thing that I always struggled with my fucking tiny bird brain is how water sticks all the way around this mass of earth, right? That's something I struggled with as a concept. However, I saw an astronaut in space having a wash, and they sort of squirt water into a cloth, and he was kind of holding it with a cloth, and the water was sticking to the center of the cloth because the cloth had some mass to it, and the water was kind of just floating around the center of this fucking scrunchy almost. And I was like, I fucking get it a bit now. This is how it works with gravity on Earth in a massive fucking unfathomable scale. You know, you can travel as fast as you want in a car, 100 mile an hour in a car. You can't get close to the speed at which the earth rotates. And even if you just drive the longest fucking road that you can, like, you don't even get close to seeing how fucking big this earth is. It's mental. Then he says, because the force is directed radially inwards on all points. But, correct. However, that's just so hard to visualize as just some fucking dumb fuck who grew up in East Manchester. Like, there's not enough of, like, I understand why a lot of people just lose their mind going, this is fucking flat, look at it. Because it's what observable. But when you, for me, that was the one that I was like, got it. Not that I thought it was flat before that, but like, That was the one where I was like, right, this makes sense. Jockey says needs Ronaldo with me on IRL. Mahia says, why are you typing in all caps, mate? Are you all right? He says, let's say it's flat, so what? So fucking what? Look, it just isn't flat. And eclipses, I don't know if it's a lunar eclipse or a solar eclipse, whichever fucking one it is, where the Earth passes in between the sun and the moon. And the fact that it's... I haven't got anything round here. The fact that it's always the round side, yeah? It's never the edge side. It never passes in front of the moon and we just see a line. Because it's not fucking flat. Paul Trussy says, just go to Blackpool and look at the horizon. Harry Palmer says, you're like a shit scientist. Of course I'm a shit scientist. I'm not even a scientist. Why don't we just exploit Juve? Oh, we're not talking football now. We're talking science. Keep up. Shahura says, can we move on to football? I'll watch a documentary if I need a lecture on science. Do you want actual information, though, or do you want the ramblings of a fucking idiot? Because I tell you what, one's going to be way more entertaining. Back on topic, paddock prawns. Is my foot issue the same one Dominic Cruz had? Exactly the same one, actually. Why would you take a picture of the bottom of the earth? It's just rocks. What is the bottom? Huh? Which is the bottom of the earth? Have you seen that guy that does a load of videos with the earth upside down, or the map of the earth upside down, and everyone in the comments like, why is that upside down? And he's like, well, what's upside down? Just because this is the way we've drawn it. What if it was 90 degrees that way? Is the correct way to demonstrate it. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I've got shit I need to go and do. Cheers for tuning in, as always. Have a good evening. Go watch something interesting and educational, and not me. I'm going to go watch another episode of Yellowstone, and I'm getting in bed. Make sure to subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.